another interesting tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to talk about 11 Kotlin naming conventions. So let's learn the guidelines about this naming convention in Kotlin, ensuring your code is readable, maintainable, and consistent with established best practices. So to give you the overview, we'll be learning about the naming conventions in packages, classes and objects, functions, properties, and local variables, factory functions, test methods, constants, top level object properties, enum constants, backing properties, general naming, and acronyms. So first, for the first, let's learn about the package. Okay, so in packages, this should be in the naming convention. You should always remember that the packages should be lowercase and avoid underscores. So multi-word names can be concatenated or use camel cases. So this is how it's happening. Okay, so this is the example, as you can see here. If you, the good example is if you have a this is the one of the good example of package naming. Whereas if you use underscores like here, if I use underscores like this, then it's not a good naming. Okay, so this is, you need to avoid underscores. Okay, avoid this one. As you can see here, the doesn't match the like, you know, it's just gonna give the error. Okay, so this is all about the packages. Then now let's jump to the classes and objects. So this is the example of classes, and this is the example of objects. Okay, so classes and objects start with the uppercase letter and use camel case. So this is starts with the uppercase letter, as you can see here, and uses the camel case if the name of the class is longer. Okay, so this is the conventions that we have to follow, and same goes with also with the objects, as you can see here in the example. And so now let's jump to the functions, properties, and local variables. So for the functions, as you can see here, the functions, properties, and local variables start with the lowercase letter, as you can see here in the example, and use the camel case if it is longer, if the names are longer. Okay, so whatever the factory functions. So if you have a factory functions, like this is the factory functions, so can have a same name as the abstract return type. Okay, so factory functions can have the same name as the abstract type. So this is the abstract type, and this is the factory functions can have the same name as the abstract return type. So this is it. And then for the test, for the unit test, if you go to the exam, um, so let me see if I have a unit test example. I don't have, I think so. Let me see. No, these are the resources, so this is just the Kotlin file. Okay, so there is a simple example that I want to tell you. Is like if you are writing the test, right? So if you are writing a test, then your test method should use the backtick. Okay, so the backtick, like let me give you the example here. So if you're writing a unit test, then your class example unit test. Okay, so suppose that you have a unit test. Okay, and then if you're writing a test, then your test function. Okay, so let's suppose that this is a text function, then it should start with the backtick. Okay, your test function. Okay, so it should start here if you are writing the unit test. Okay, so this is just for the unit test. And for the constants, so you have this constants, for example. So for constants, use uppercase letter and underscores, like a streamy snake case. Okay, so let me check if I have the example of the unit test. I have just the example of the unit test. Let me bring the example here. So you see, if you have the unit test, as I was suggesting before, then you should start with the backtick. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, so now let's check about the constants. I'm checking here. So if the constants should always use the uppercase letter and underscores. It's called like a screaming snake case. Okay, so this is the screaming snake case. And about the top level object properties, use camel case for objects with behavior or mutable data. Singleton object reference can use object declaration style. So what about the enums? Enums constant use uppercase letter and underscores or upper camel case. Okay, so and what about the backing properties? For backing properties, are prefixed with the underscores. So you can, this is the backing properties. So this is like a private property, which is a backing property of the public, this property of the account object. So and then this should be prefixed with the underscore. What about the general naming? Like this is the so we use descriptive nouns for classes, verbs for the method, and avoid, we need to avoid meaningless words. Method names should indicate if they mutate the object. Okay, so this is the thing that we have to be careful about. So as you can see here in the example, nouns for the classes and verb for the method. And what about the acronyms finally? So capitalize two-letter acronyms and only the first letter of longer acronyms. Okay, so this is it, the example. Okay, so two-letter acronym and this is a longer acronym. So I think following these guidelines, you will write a more consistent and readable Kotlin code that adheres to established naming conventions. So hope this is gonna help you guys to write more clean code, okay, and well structure your project. And thank you guys for listening, and catch you up in the next tutorial.